Well, today on Focus on This, we have a really special treat. We are going to be talking about a really exciting topic that we have never talked about on this podcast, which is life planning. And we actually have a very special guest today. So stay tuned to find who that is.
Welcome to another episode of Focus on This, the most productive podcast on the internet, so you can banish distractions, get the right stuff done, and finally start loving Mondays. I'm Ken Freire here with Marissa Hyatt.
Hey,
Hey, happy Monday.
Happy Monday. It's a good Monday today.
Yep. And it's going to be a great Monday for this conversation because we have a special guest, the one and only Michael Hyatt, who's going to talk about 5 hidden costs of not having a life.
No, a life plan.
I was like, oh, I should have scrolled down a little bit because I just saw a life and I was like, wow, that's an interesting marketing title.
This is amazing.
So life plan. Okay, so it's going to be great. We're going to have a fresh approach to life planning that gives you a GPS for your next 10 years. And actually, it's going to be you, Marissa, and having a conversation with Michael Hyatt about creating this life plan.
I finally succeeded in kicking Ken off the show for an episode. No, I'm just kidding. No, we decided
I'll be back.
to share. This is actually a pre-recorded conversation that my dad and I had. We did this as a live training and conversation. You may have been with us live, but you might have missed out. And so we thought it would be great to go ahead and share that conversation now. We had such great response, and it's one you don't want to miss out on. So definitely make sure to stay tuned for this conversation through the end. And you can also watch the actual video if you prefer on YouTube as well.
All right. Well, let's jump in. And while you guys are having this great conversation, I'm going to go save some puppies.
Okay.
Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, depending on where you're watching from. Guys, we're excited to be with you. Marissa, I'm excited to be doing this with you.
I'm so excited to be here, and welcome to all of you who are watching. We've been watching your comments for the last couple of minutes as we've gotten ready here, and it's so fun to see people all over the world.
It's really true. And we got a gazillion people in here. This is going to be fun.
We really do. I mean, we have maxed out this training today, this conversation. We are at our limit, so you should be very proud of yourself for getting here on time because there's a chance that some people might not even make it in.
Oh, I hate that. I have a question I want to ask because I'm seeing where all these people are from, and forgive me, but I'm looking over the camera to the chat screen. So this is amazing. How many people are in the chat and how many people are from around the world. But one of the questions I have is how many of you have a life plan already? So if you have a life plan already, no shame if you don't. In fact, I fully expect that most of you don't. But if you do have a life plan, give us a yes in the comments.
Yeah, not really.
Paul, yes. Carol, yes. Jared, yes. Craig, sort of. Alexander, yes. Dane's done something similar before. Suzanne, but it changes. Yes, and it will change. We'll talk about that.
Wow, this is awesome. Well, you're in the right place. I'll tell you that much.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, we're going to have a great conversation today. And
this is Life Plan Central.
Yes, which is really exciting because this is not a topic that we've talked about in years. I mean, really, since your book, Living Forward, we haven't, as a company or as a team, we haven't talked about life planning.
Well, and if you've done the life plan that I talk about inside of Living Forward,
yeah,
and if you use the template there, that's kind of, I think of it as life planning 1.0, but this is life planning 2.0. So we're going to share with you guys a tool later, but it's going to make it fast, easy, and fun to get your plan together. And I can't wait. I mean, we're almost giddy about it because we took our entire team through this tool. Then we took all of our business coaching clients through this tool, and we're going to share it with you guys in a little bit.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty awesome. So we've got, are we at the top of the hour now? So we probably should just jump in. What do you think?
Let's do it. Let's go. These people, we got to respect their time.
Yes. Well, welcome to 5 hidden costs of not having a life plan. And we are so excited to be here today. Like I was just saying, this is a conversation that has been a long time coming that we've never you and I have never sat down and had a conversation about this publicly. And we really, as a company, haven't had this conversation publicly. So this is really exciting that we get to be here with you all today. And we're going to be talking all about life planning and the cost of not having one, and then the benefits of having one. And like my dad mentioned, we have a really amazing tool that may or may not be sitting on this table.
May or may not.
It may not, yeah. And we're excited to share that with you in just a bit. But just to introduce ourselves, so I'm Marissa Hyatt, our director of marketing here at Full Focus. I've been at the company, I just actually had my, I think, 5th-year anniversary
You're
about
kidding
a
me.
week and a half ago, which was pretty exciting. So
Wow.
been here a while.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks. I'm also the co-host of our podcast, Focus on This, which is a blast. If you're not tuning into that on a weekly basis, we essentially help you achieve your goals and go after your big dreams, which is amazing. I'm also your youngest daughter. There are 5 of us girls, and I'm the youngest of the family. And I like to say the most fun. And for those of you, you probably have joined this because you know already who my dad, Michael Hyatt, is. But in case you're brand new around here, just to introduce him, he is the founder and chairman of Full Focus. He has scaled multiple companies, including a $250 million publishing company with over 750 employees. That's a lot.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of people.
Yep.
He is also the creator of our best-selling Full Focus Planner, which has sold over 1.2 million copies. Forbes named it the best daily planner, and Good Housekeeping just actually named it the best planner for goal achievement. He has now helped thousands, hundreds of thousands, really, of people just like you achieve their dreams and their goals. You're also the author of several New York Times bestselling, Wall Street Journal, and USA Today bestselling books, including Your Best Year Ever, Free to Focus, Win at Work and Succeed at Life, your newest book, Mind Your Mindset, and of course, Living Forward, which I'm sure several of you have read. And you've also been married to your wife of 45 years?
45 years. Be
Golly.
46 this summer.
Yes, that's quite the
I know I
accomplishment.
don't look that old. We married when we were like 5.
Gosh, I know. It is crazy. 45 years. That's quite the accomplishment. It's pretty amazing. And he has 5 daughters, including me, and 10 grandkids. So we've got a full family.
Okay, fun fact. All of my daughters live within 20 minutes of me, 30 minutes, let's say.
Yeah.
The 3 daughters that have my grandkids live within 5 minutes. So all 10 grandkids are within 5 minutes of my house.
It's pretty incredible.
Which is pretty incredible and pretty fun.
Yeah. And loud.
Yeah.
At times.
We had about 5 of them over yesterday, and it was total chaos, and I loved it.
Yes, it was a blast. Well, we're here today to talk about the benefits of having a life plan, and first and foremost, really the cost of not having a life plan. And so I think that, what we're here to talk about is that life planning doesn't have to be just exhausting and cumbersome and kind of depressing. We have a really fun, exciting tool that we're going to be sharing with you momentarily that's going to be amazing. But I thought that we would kind of flip the script and focus on the cost. So that's kind of what we're here to talk about today. But before we break this down, I wanted to ask you about something that you said. You have a quote that is pretty powerful, and you say, you can have successful days and even successful years, but still fall short of a meaningful life. So can you share with us, what do you mean by that?
Well, I would think of it like this, Marissa, is that a life plan is like the roadmap, and your goals and your accomplishments and all that along the way are like the milestones.
Yeah.
But if you don't know where those milestones lead, you might end up at a destination you wouldn't have chosen.
Mm.
So to tell a story that some people have heard before, but back in the year 2000, I kind of got my dream job. I was at Thomas Nelson Publishers. My boss resigned. I became the general manager of one of Thomas Nelson's 14 book publishing divisions. So one of 14. That division was upside down in every meaningful metric. We had no revenue growth. In fact, we were shrinking. We had no profit. We had lost money the previous year. And so I was tasked with turning that division around. And the CEO said, how long is this going to take? I pulled a number out of the air. I said, 3 years. And he said, yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. Go for it. So what I didn't realize is that when you take over a division that is so bad, you can't screw it up. You can only make it better.
That's right.
So once I realized that, then it kind of got fun. But I rolled up my sleeves. I got my team enrolled in the vision. And we decided we're going to turn that division around. So at the end of 18 months, not 3 years, but a year and a half, we were able to go from number 14 to number 1. We were the fastest growing division in the company.
Wow.
We're the most profitable division in the company. Our morale was through the roof. Everybody was having a blast, and everybody got paid a bonus check.
Wow.
But I got the biggest bonus check I've ever received in my career. It was more than my annual salary.
Oh my gosh.
So I knew that Gail, my wife, your mom, would be super excited about this. So I drove home. This was, before there were cell phones like we have them now, and we just didn't use cell phones as much. And so I got home, walked into the den, shared it with her, and she was like, not her usual. I mean, she's like a cheerleader.
Yeah.
She was not her enthusiastic self. In fact, she looked at me, and I could tell. I mean, my heart sank because she said, "We need to talk."
Never the words you want to hear.
Never the word. I thought, whoa. I mean, I thought this was a good thing, and now she wants to talk about it. So we sat down in the den, and she began to tear up a little bit. And she said to me, here's the problem. She said, first of all, I do appreciate everything you've done for our family. I love you. You've been amazing. But you're never here.
Oh.
Because I've been traveling like crazy. I was working late at the office, working weekends. She said, even when you are home, you're not fully present.
Mm.
And she said, your 5 daughters need you now more than ever. And then she began to cry. And she said, honestly, I feel like a single mom.
Wow.
So that was not what I was going for. And I realized that I was facing this impossible choice where I could win at work, continue to win at work, or I could succeed at life. And it felt like it was one or the other. Right. And so I set out on a quest to see if I could turn that around and not give up my professional ambition, but also not sacrifice my health or my family in the pursuit of my own ambition.
Yeah.
So I hired a life coach who began to work through the process of creating a life plan. Marissa, that changed everything.
Wow.
Because I would have probably continued to achieve, if I hadn't had that intervention from your mom, and if I hadn't had the assistance of my coach, but I would have ended up, I think, at a completely different destination. I'm fortunate, as we said earlier, to have 5 daughters who love me, who live nearby, all my grandkids, a successful business and career, but that didn't happen on accident. And by the way, it's never up and to the right. There's always, 3 steps forward, 2 steps back.
Right.
We've gone through our, share of ups and downs. But I would say that this didn't happen because of accident. It happened by design. Everything didn't go perfectly according to plan, but oh my gosh, if I had not had a life plan, no telling where we would have ended up.
Wow. Well, first of all, it's cool to hear you talk about that story in the context of life planning, because I didn't know that that was a huge part of what changed everything for you. I've heard that story, but I haven't heard kind of that ending of that the life plan was really the key that unlocked for you your greatest potential, both as a husband, a father, and in your career as a professional. And I think this is really powerful. And this is a great way for us to start and kind of transition into what are the costs of not having a life plan. Because like many of you just shared, when we were asking you at the start of this, you shared that several of you don't have a life plan. And frankly, I didn't have a life plan until just recently when we went through this process as a team. And it's very transformational what is possible. So let's go ahead and dive into our
Okay.
5 costs. So we have cost number 1, which is disorientation. And I know that I've felt this a lot in my own life, that prior to having a life plan, I think I'm trying to remember how many months ago, it was about 2.5, I guess, that we went through this process as a team. And before that, I didn't have a life plan. And I felt very disoriented. It was like, okay, I have goals and that's great, but I don't really know where I'm going and how does this really fit into this big picture of my life. So I'm curious. Obviously, life throws a lot at us. It sometimes can feel like we're stuck in reactive mode. We're just trying to keep up with the next thing that gets thrown at us. and we often feel very disoriented. So, how does a life plan address that feeling of disorientation?
Well, I felt the same way before too, because there's so many demands. There's the demands of work, and that seems never ending. And it always seems like, I mean, literally every business owner, every employee, everybody I know that's working full time feels overwhelmed.
Yeah.
They feel like they've got more demands on them than they could possibly process. But then there's the demands of your family. There's the demands of, do you want to stay healthy? You've got your community, maybe your church. There's a lot of different things that put these demands upon you. And it feels like you're caught in a blizzard
Mm.
of obligations and demands and requests and all of that. And it can be completely disoriented, kind of like when you're lost in a snowstorm,
Yeah.
which has never happened to me, but I've come close. I can remember years ago, I was in Colorado Springs after a conference driving to Denver, and it was in December, right before Christmas. And this blizzard hit, and I was on the interstate, and I got totally turned around in the middle of trying to get to Denver to your grandparents' house.
Wow.
And I was totally disoriented, lost. And I began to fear, what's going to happen here? But it's because the visibility was so low. And the thing that a life plan does is it provides visibility and clarity. It's not perfect, and it
Yeah.
wasn't perfect on that day that I was in the blizzard, but I saw clear enough to get back on the road and make my way to Denver. And that's really what a life plan
Mm.
does. It gives you a tremendous sense of clarity, tremendous sense of purpose,
Yep.
so that you're not just sort of aimlessly wandering around like somebody in a mall or somebody at, like, I've been to Disney World,
Yeah.
it's just like, whoa, there's so many things to see here. I'm not sure what to do next. So, but a life plan makes it clear. It brings order to the chaos and gives you a sense of purpose.
It really does. And I think that it's so powerful how much it puts everything. I mean, we didn't choose the name of our company just lightly, but it puts everything in full focus.
Yes.
Whereas what you're talking about, everything's a blur, it's disorienting, it's confusing, and really having a life plan puts it into clear focus.
Well, I think it's important to say, I think a lot of people know us for goal achievement.
Yes.
Your best year ever, our goal achievement course, the full focus goal achievement course, all of that. And that's really important. But those goals are like how to make your way to a milestone. But if there's not the context of a life plan, you may be working hard and achieving a lot, but you're not making it to the destination that you'd really want to go to if you had given it some real thinking like we do in the life planning process.
Yes, absolutely. Well, okay, what would you say to somebody whose life planning feels forced or fake somehow? Like, you know, they just don't feel like this is for them, or it's like, ugh, I don't know. It feels like too hard to get going and actually do this process.
Well, first of all, we do have a tool that we're going to share in just a little bit that makes this really easy and makes it fast and makes it fun and kind of takes the tedium out of it. And I totally get it. But in terms of it feeling fake, I think there are people that maybe they've planned things in the past and they didn't achieve their plans and they're disappointed.
Mm,
And the thing that I would say is that, in my experience and in the experience of my clients, life goes better when you plan. Now, do you ever achieve your plan 100%? No. Because we're talking about the future and it's a guess. But without a plan, I promise you, there are going to be things you don't consider. You're going to aim too low.
right.
You're not going to achieve or fulfill your potential. And that by itself is very disappointing. So what I would ask the people that are watching this to do is to suspend disbelief.
Mm.
Like if you're one of those people that you've tried planning, you don't feel great about it, I would say suspend disbelief and give this a shot and then try it. You might just find, like my wife Gail did, that planning, goal setting, all of that, she loves it.
Yeah.
But she didn't see herself in that way when she first started.
Well, it's really true. And I think that life planning can feel very overwhelming. I mean, I know I felt this personally, as I'm sure many of you have felt this, that it just feels really overwhelming. And I don't know who said this. I don't know if it was you or if I've just heard you say it, but there's this idea that you should, you're going to have to correct me on how it actually goes, but it's something to the effect of hold your strategy loosely, but essentially the outcome or the goal of where you're wanting to go firmly.
Yes.
And I think that that's really true in life planning.
Well, and it's because the ultimate goal or your life vision, which we're going to get into, that's the where, that's the destination. But there's a lot of different ways to get there.
Yeah.
And those are the strategies, and they speak to the how.
Right.
And so don't confuse those two things, because, for example, if you're committed to having amazing health, that's the most important thing. How you get there, I mean, you may try, hot yoga, and that may work great for you. You may try CrossFit, and that may work great for you. But it doesn't matter. Keep switching until you find the strategy that gets you in great health.
Yeah.
So what you want to achieve is more important than how you get there.
It's really good. Okay, so cost number 1 was disorientation. Cost number 2, and this is kind of what you were just talking about some, is drifting. And I think that this is such a powerful point. It is so often that people don't have any clear idea of where they're heading in life. So I'd love to hear you talk about this concept of drifting. And in the context of not having a life plan, how does this happen? And then how do we course correct?
Yeah. So another story. Your mom and I had been married about 5 years, and we decided that we were going to go to Hawaii. I'm not sure what that is ringing.
I don't know either.
Sorry. Anyway, distracting. But so I decided we were going to go to Hawaii on a vacation. Super excited about that. And we left on the vacation. And when we got to Hawaii, we didn't have any money to do anything, but the hotel was offering free snorkeling lessons. So we went out and we got, checked out by the hotel staff, and they said, awesome, here's some snorkeling equipment if you want to use it for the rest of the week. So we thought, great, we can do this for free. We went into the lagoon that was adjacent to the hotel the next morning. It was about 6 o'clock in the morning. So really, really, really early. But it wasn't that early for us because, we had been coming from the Midwest at the time. And so we got totally mesmerized by what we were seeing in that lagoon. Just under the water, there were all these brightly colored fish. There were all these grasses swaying in the water. And I mean, it was just like we were on another planet. It was amazing. But we got distracted. We got sidetracked. What we didn't realize is that we were being pulled by a riptide out into the sea. And when we finally looked up, we were a long way from the shore. I mean, the hotel looked like a postage stamp in the distance.
Oh, yikes.
So mom lifted up her head. We had a boogie board with us, which is just like a little small surfboard that we could put things on. And so we were able to hang on to that. But she said, what are we going to do? And I said, let's just swim like crazy and see if we can get back. Now, that's really not the recommended procedure if you're caught in a riptide, but that's what we did. We didn't know any better. And we swam hard for probably about 40 minutes. We finally got our feet on the bottom of the ocean as we got toward the shore, and we walked up on the shore, collapsed, and we didn't go snorkeling like for another 20 years.
Wow.
But here's the point. Nobody ever drifted to a destination they would have chosen. And so we got distracted like a lot of people do with life. They get interested in this or that, and they just drift.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what had happened to us. We had drifted to a destination we wouldn't have chosen. But for a lot of people, they're drifting to bad marriages.
Yeah.
They're drifting to poor health. They're drifting to relationships with their children where their children won't speak to them. They don't know that. But every day they're making little decisions because they don't have a life plan. They don't have a roadmap. And they're incrementally moving further and further away from where they want to be.
Well, and I think what's important to talk about here too is it's easy to just think, well, okay, but I have goals for the year, so I'm fine. I'm not drifting. But one of the things that I realized in the process of life planning was that when I all of a sudden widened the lens, I went, wait, do these goals even help me get to where I actually want to go?
Right.
Because this is just the next, 12 months. And it sounds like a great plan for me, but is it actually helping me get to the destination that I want for my life? And I love that a life plan actually enables you to widen that lens and actually look down and say, does not only the choices I'm making today, but the choices and the goals and the pursuits that I'm making this year actually help me progress towards that life vision.
That's exactly right. And to use a photography analogy, when you're planning your goals, it's like having a telescopic lens on the camera.
Yeah.
You're really dialed in, laser focus on what it is you're going to accomplish over this next year. When you have a life plan, you put on the wide angle lens so that you can see the larger context and what's over that next hill. What's going to happen out there in years 3 and year 5 and
Right.
year 10. And year 10 is, by the way, the planning horizon that we recommend in life planning. So where do you want to be in 10 years? Hard to see much beyond that. You could do it for your full life if you wanted to, but we think in terms of 10 years.
Yeah. Well, that feels instantly much less overwhelming than thinking I have to think all the way to my death.
Yeah.
Like at least 10 years. I'm like, okay, pretty much everybody has 10 years, even if you're 80 years old, you likely have 10 years left, or you should, you should at least be shooting for that. Okay. So what about major life changes? Like, obviously life happens, things get thrown our way. And how does a life plan help in the context of when big life changes happen?
Well, it gives you, again, a roadmap so that you can get back on track. For example, if we were going on a vacation to Destin, which we used to do a lot because that's the closest ocean to us, and suddenly we hit a roadblock or the interstate's closed down because of a wreck of some sort, doesn't really matter. I mean, it may slow us down in getting there, but we still know the ultimate destination is Destin, Florida. So we can use GPS to go around that roadblock or to go around that wreck or whatever it is and still get to the destination. But if you don't have that, if you're just out there driving, I mean, what do you do?
Yeah.
And that's the problem with the demands of life is that they are going to test us. And it's going to be easy for us to get off course if we don't have a life plan, if we don't have a way of knowing where the path is and what we're shooting for.
It's really true. And again, going back to the kind of comparison between goals and a life plan, goals will help you, but they're not going to get you all the way
Right.
there. So we've talked about two costs so far. We have the cost number one, which is disorientation, but a life plan really provides clarity and purpose. We also have cost number two, which is drifting, but a life plan really provides direction. And then we have cost number three, which is stagnation. So this is a good one that I think that can be really overlooked. But it's a major personal value of mine is personal growth.
Not stagnation.
Not stagnation. I
Okay.
don't want to be stagnant. I heard somebody once say that if you're not growing, you're dying,
It's true.
which is true. If you look at nature, that is exactly what's happening. If it isn't, growing and having life in it, it's decaying, it's dying,
Change can happen in one of two directions, as you
Right.
pointed out. There's no just like steady state
No.
where you just stay like you are.
Yeah, exactly. So how does a life plan combat stagnation? How does it actually help us to grow?
Okay, so let me ask this question, and I'm looking at the chat here. How many of you consider yourself growth oriented?
Yes. Okay.
You're reading books, you're listening to podcasts, you're attending trainings like this. Yeah, look, I mean, I knew it.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be here if you're not growth oriented. But the problem is, without a life plan, it's very easy to get into this place of stagnation where you're just not challenged. And you're not challenged because you lack vision. It's like the Bible says, without a vision, the people perish. And, we can maybe modify that a little bit. Without a vision, people stagnate.
Yeah.
If you don't have a greater vision for your marriage, then you're probably going to be very comfortable with what you have, but there's so much more. If you don't have a life plan, you may be very comfortable with what your health is, and you may not know that there's things brewing under the surface, that you're maybe not as healthy as you think, or at least incrementally, you're making decisions every day that are leading you to poorer health, that ultimately, and this is the problem when you don't have a life plan, a lot of these things that you don't give attention to, not only do they stagnate, but they deteriorate.
Yeah.
And you could end up with a real crisis either in your health or in your most important relationships without a life plan. But you just stagnate. You're not growing. And if you're not growing, you're not reaching your potential. And in my view, that's a tremendous waste of this gift of your life that God has given you.
Exactly. Well, and if we're not growing, if we're not progressing, we're really not able to realize that potential. We can't. I mean, we weren't just meant to show up here and just stay the same,
That's right.
and that
It's all about growth.
and that stagnation really will easily help us to drift if we're not careful, right? Like we're all of a sudden drifting to all kinds of places we would have never chosen. But like you're talking about, it's these micro decisions day in and day out. And without having a clear vision of where you're heading, those can be totally out of alignment with what you actually want.
I was just thinking of saying it this way, unless you're growing on purpose, you're drifting by accident.
Oh,
It's one or the others,
that's good.
right? If you're not growing on purpose, you're drifting by accident. And a life plan can be all the difference. Now, I believe in goal achievement too, and the goals need to be part of that. And we talk about that in this tool we're going to be talking about is how this can be the context, the roadmap, so that you can set meaningful goals this year that move you toward that 10-year vision for your personal life and your professional life.
Absolutely. Okay, this is so good. I just want to make sure you guys still with us. We've gone through 3 of the 5 costs so far. So if you're still with us, just give us a yes in the chat. I feel like this is really a great conversation. I'm loving this so far. So let's move on to cost number 4,
Okay.
which is imbalance. So without a life plan, it can feel really like we're in reactive mode. And it's really easy to neglect certain parts of our life, certain domains of our life if we're not careful. So, what can happen here? Let's talk about what happens if you don't have a life plan. How does this create imbalance in our life?
Well, to give you an example, if you think that the only thing in life is basically work, and that's a lot of people how they operate.
Yeah.
That's kind of their operating assumption. They think everything is work and they don't have a plan for anything else at all. That could be problematic.
Yeah.
Because then you end up neglecting your marriage, your health, your kids, these other domains of life that are very important. And so it's very important to have a vision for those things so that you're growing. I mean, left to myself, and I think this is true for a lot of people, a lot of professionals, they love work. They love work because it's measurable.
Right.
They get rewards, they get accolades at the office, but then they go home and it's some level of chaos and it's not as organized and the growth is not readily apparent. You know, your kids, you're thinking, oh my God, they're regressing, not progressing, and all this stuff happens. So there's this psychological motivation to spend more time at work.
Right.
Or with your health. You know, when you go out and exercise, when you eat well, unless you were brought up to eat really well, that's going to be something that's going to be difficult. And it might be easy without a life plan. Like if you had a life plan that said, I want to be in the best shape of my life so that my health span equals my lifespan, which is my goal. If you didn't have a life plan, it might be easy to say, you know, I don't need to go to the gym.
Right.
I don't need to eat well. I'm just going to eat what I enjoy.
Right.
And then you end up with a health crisis. So a life plan is what keeps that from happening. It gives you that balance in all domains of life. Now, it's important to say that balance doesn't mean equal attention to every one of life's different domains.
Yeah, I think this is an important point because, and I'm curious to hear you talk more about this because I hear this all the time online. I see things on social media talking about how work-life balance is a total myth. And so I'm curious, in the context of having a life plan, how does it actually help us create work-life balance?
Well,
Or
I
does
think
it?
to me, balance is when you give the appropriate amount of time and attention to the 9 domains of life.
Yeah.
So it doesn't mean, for example, like I may spend 40 hours a week. It doesn't mean I'm going to need to spend 40 hours with Gail to have life balance or 40 hours working out to have life balance. I mean, pretty soon we're out of hours, right? But it means I spend the appropriate amount of time and attention. For some people, a better word is work-life integration.
Ooh, I like that.
You know, but it's kind of like a balancing act. You know, it's like if you were to walk on a balance beam, you know, you spend a lot of time trying to correct for imbalance.
Yep.
And that's true for life too. You know, or it's like a rocket ship that's going to the moon. You know, most of the time it's off course.
Right.
But it's all this little corrections, you know, micro corrections that keep it on course so that it can successfully land on the moon. And that's how a life plan operates. It pulls us back on course when we drift off course because we get distracted or whatever.
Well, I think a life plan also really helps us to have a true reason to go after some of those areas of our life that we might feel like we don't have as much control of. So for some people, that looks like their parenting life, you know, that they don't feel like they have as much control. You know, for me, that might feel like my love life, you know, like how can I really affect it? And it can feel,
She's single, by the way.
it can feel very just discouraging almost if you don't have a clear vision of where you're going and what you want, right? And there's some parts of our life that we feel more in control of, like work. For some people that looks like their health or their finances. There's more concrete results that we get, and it can quickly feel like we're putting too much effort in those places because we feel like we have a sense of control.
Yep.
Versus saying, okay, we have that control, but where else do we need to place more focus, more attention to really create a holistic, what I would call a holistic life?
Yes.
Let's review the first four
Okay.
costs that we've talked about and kind of the flip side of those coins. So the first cost that we talked about is disorientation. A life plan provides clarity and purpose. Cost number 2 is drifting, and a life plan really provides us with that direction. Cost number 3 is stagnation, and a life plan enables growth. Cost number 4 is imbalance, and a life plan creates balance. And lastly, cost number 5 is fragmentation. So, what do you mean by fragmentation? And what is kind of the flip side of this? And how does a life plan help us here?
Well, it's easy without a life plan to compartmentalize life.
Yeah.
So you're all in work, and then you kind of have switch gears, and you have to go to, home and spend time with the family, and that's another compartment, and church is another compartment, and your friends are another compartment. But the beautiful thing about a life plan is it makes sure that all those different domains are working together to create a whole, rich, deep, meaningful life.
Wow.
And that's what you want.
Yeah. And I think that this is where people feel sometimes lost or discouraged because our culture kind of tells us we can't have it all.
Right.
This dream, this idea of having this whole rich, deeply meaningful life isn't really possible. You have to make a choice at some point. And we here at Full Focus, we really believe you don't have to make a choice.
That's right.
That you can have this deep, fulfilling life. And this comes directly out of your personal story, which is why you're so passionate about this and why we've created every single product we've created, which is ultimately to help people get what we call the double win, which is winning at work and succeeding at life. You don't have to choose one or the other. And it's really easy without a life plan to have your life in pieces and not connected.
That's right. And the life plan is that thing that connects all of it together so that it's all working together in this season of your life to achieve ultimately what you want to see happen over the course of the next 10 years. And another way to say it is that we believe in and, not or.
Yeah.
In other words, I can win at work and succeed at life. I can be a great friend. I can be in excellent health. I can have a great marriage. And again, it doesn't mean you are going to arrive at this perfect state where you can just kick back and it's all accomplished. No, I mean, it's to get back to the balance thing. It's a constant balancing act. It takes ongoing work. Nothing is steady state, but with a life plan, you basically have a place to come back to.
Yeah.
So that you know what you need to do to get back on course and achieve what it is that you're called to do.
Well, it really brings everything into alignment. One of the things that I love about our life planning process is that we help you develop your core values and your personal mission.
Personal is the emphasis here.
And we see this in the context of businesses all the time where we show, professional core values for a company or a, company mission statement or things like that. But rarely do we think about this in the context of our personal
Right.
lives. And when we think about goals or habits that we want to create or parts of our life where we want to invest time and energy, if you don't have that clear vision and that clear understanding of who am I? What am I really here to do on this planet? What is my personal mission? And what is very important to me? Then you're, like we talked about earlier, you're likely going to create goals that sure you might be interested or excited about, but they might be kind of a sidestep or a distraction from what your real true purpose is. And I love this part of this. So it's not just about creating a holistic life. It's really about creating a life of alignment.
Yes.
Too.
Perfect. Well said.
Amazing. I want to kind of shift gears a little bit and talk to you guys directly who are here watching today. I know that all of you who are here, you have chosen to be here because you have a life that you feel is truly worth living and you feel like you have serious purpose on this planet, right? You wouldn't be here if you didn't believe some part of you believed that. And I can say that with confidence, if you're here today, you're the kind of person who is going to be able to live into your full purpose, your full meaning for this life. You want to reach your full potential and you want to make a significant contribution. And Dad, you said at the start, or we talked about how you had said you can have successful days, months, and even years and still fall short of a meaningful life. Thankfully, we've learned today that a life plan can really orient all of your activity towards a compelling vision for your future. So I want to talk about life planning really as a solution here, and just how this is ultimately the missing piece of the puzzle that we as a company have had, and likely you as an individual have had. We've all felt this, that this was kind of the missing piece. So, we have introduced a brand new product that we're so excited to share with you. I truly believe that this is maybe the most important work you've done in your life.
Hmm.
I know Mom has said that. She has heard you speak about life planning in the past, and she told you, I think at one point, this is what you were called here to do
Yeah,
and
she
create.
she literally said after Daniel and I wrote Living Forward, she said, "Whatever else you do, I'm sure will be amazing, but nothing will be as important as life planning." Well, we've biggie sized that now and made it so much easier.
We really have. And so we have a new product that is called Life Focus. And this is
Boom.
truly a revolutionary approach to life planning. This is not something that you've ever seen before. This is not anything that's on the market.
Nothing like it.
No. And typically, life planning is cumbersome. It takes a long time.
Tedious.
It's kind of depressing.
And it frankly kind of assumes that you're a writer. And I think that's where we got hung
Yeah.
up. You know, when I wrote life planning as a writer, I thought, well, this isn't that hard. But for most people, writing is really difficult.
Yes.
I mean, that's why, 95% of Americans want to write a book, and just a fraction of probably 1% of them ever write a book, because most people aren't writers. This doesn't require really any of that.
Yeah. And I love that there's like a physical component. So this is really innovated. It's simple. And what we've done here is we've gamified life planning, which is amazing. Now hang with us because we've got several things that we want to share with you about this. So hang tight. We'll share share the links and all the things here shortly.
Tell you how to get it. Yep.
The other thing I want to mention before we dive into this is I know that several of you are going to have questions as we start going through this, which is fantastic. We've saved time today to walk through your questions. So if you have questions, you can share those in the chat now, and our team is going to grab those for us, and we'll be covering those questions here in a minute. So let's show them this kit. This is called
Okay.
Life Focus. You get this kit, this box that has a workbook in it. This is not just like a little simple kind of a workbook. I mean, this thing is really your pocket coach. I mean, honestly.
It is. And it's beautifully printed in 4-color. And it's got all the exercises and all the detail about how to go through this life focus process, which we refer to internally. In fact, our working title was Life Planning 2.0 before we came up with the name Life Focus. But the subtitle is A Simple Plan for a Meaningful Life.
And it really takes the guesswork out of the process of what do I do now? How do I go from where I am to having a fully, built out life plan? We walk you through every single step in that workbook. The other really exciting thing, which you can kind of see here, are these card decks. Here, turn it around so they can see the, I don't know if the colors will pick up, but they're all different colors. And so there's, this is actually our kind of beta version. So the actual version of this that you all will get has an actual other deck of cards, but we have a deck of cards for your values. So we talked about the importance of core values and having
From over here.
those. And these, this is a good stack. I don't know exactly how many cards there are, but we really help you to sort through all the options of core values, which there's a lot, and you get to decide what are your most meaningful values. And
So
again,
literally you just pick. We have you put them in 3 stacks. So this is where we've kind of gamified it. So the values that resonate with you, you put in 1 stack. The values that don't resonate with you, you put in another stack. The ones that kind of resonate with you, you put in the middle, and you kind of just work through the deck like this. And so it doesn't take long, but once you've assigned everything into one of those 3 stacks, then you take the middle stack and you force it. You say, okay, I said maybe. Am I going to keep that or am I not going to keep it?
Right.
And you discard it if you don't want to keep it. So you end up literally with, the 5 to 8 values, 10 values, maybe. We don't recommend a lot more than that, but you end up with the values that are your core values that really resonate with who you are. So you don't have to try to, think of these out of your head or try to come up with a list.
Right.
But we've got, I think, about every conceivable value that you could possibly have. And of course, if we didn't include one that you want to include, you're free to include it.
Yes. Well, and the other thing is we've done a very similar thing with the mission statement. So we talked about creating your own personal mission statement. This feels, I think, out of the entire process, this was what I was most intimidated about because
Mhm.
it feels the most weighted. It's like, what am I supposed to be doing here on this earth? And it feels overwhelming. Well, we now have, this was a part of our process going through this as a team, is we realized we really do need a card deck for that part. And so that will be something that will be included in the finished product of this. This is, again, the kind of beta version here.
And we have like a 4-part formula for the mission
Yeah.
statement. And so all you have to do is to use the cards that we provide to construct piece by piece that 4-step formula.
Right.
And boom, you've got your mission statement. And again, it's not a company mission statement. This is your personal mission statement.
Yes. It's a really powerful part of the process, I think. It evokes a lot of emotions too. So then we have what is super fun.
This is
which
the best part.
Our 9 life domain decks. And so this is where you really start creating your life plan. And each of these we have different decks that are color coded for the various domains that we have. And you get to walk through and decide if these statements resonate with you. So you talked about how life planning typically requires you to be a skilled writer. Well, we've taken that entire part of the process and kind of made it into, almost think of it like a Mad Lib, where it's like almost fill in the blank.
That's good.
And I love this because it makes it fun.
Well, can I give an example?
Yeah.
So this is for the domain of your body. And so let me just tell you what some of the cards say. I want to take care of my body more than I want comfort food. I actually look forward to exercising and have found a way to move that I love. Or I've completed an organized race or competition like a marathon, a triathlon, a Tough Mudder, etc. Or I have strong stamina and prioritize maximizing and regulating my energy. So again, you go through the same process for each domain where you take the ones that resonate with you. And sometimes these will just spark another idea that we didn't include. That's fine. But you're not having to start from scratch. And that's what we meant by gamifying it and making it fun, fast, and easy.
Yes, absolutely. It's really a fun process. Like I said, we went through this as a team. It was a blast to go through it together. This I can totally see people doing as couples with their family. They're doing it with a group of friends or a small group, or obviously within the context of work. It's really powerful to invest in your team in that way.
It really is. And people got the value and were almost giddy at the end of the process, because these were people that never thought they'd have a life plan because they didn't consider themselves writers, or they didn't have the space to do it. And we provided the space to do it. And with these cards, it made it fun and easy. And at the end of the day, everybody felt not exhausted,
No.
not tired. They felt very satisfied and deeply excited about the future.
Yes, absolutely. Okay. One of the questions that I had is, why did you create this? Because you've already written a book on this topic, right? A lot of you know the book Living Forward, which is one of your best-selling books. And so why did you feel the need to create a different tool that is kind of a different process than what you laid out in Living Forward?
Because people weren't doing it.
Hmm.
There's just too much friction. So like if I had a personal coaching client that I could hold accountable and walk through it, they would do it.
Right.
Just because I nagged them and forced them to do it. But for everybody else that didn't have a personal coach like that, just wouldn't get done. They would procrastinate. They would just never get to it, or they would get a little ways into it and go, gosh, I'm really not a writer. And they would just end up frustrated. And worse, they feel a sense of shame or guilt that they didn't do it. They
Yeah.
started it, but they didn't complete it. And I thought, this has got to stop. We've got to have a way to make this fast, easy, and fun. And if we could do that, if we can make it fast, easy, and fun, and people have a life plan, we'll change the world.
Right.
And we are committed at Full Focus to making it nearly impossible for people not to get the double win. And we think this is an essential tool for that purpose.
It really is. And it is just that. It's fast, easy, and fun. It's not something that feels overwhelming or intimidating. It's really an exciting process. I mean, you could be a college student and do this process and
Totally.
come out with a phenomenal life plan. We've talked about how our team has gone through this process together. We went through this about 2.5 months ago. We took our coaching clients through this in December, and we had a phenomenal response, both from our team and from our clients when we went through this. I want to read just a couple quotes here because I think that this is just really powerful. So,
Can I just interrupt you before you do that?
yeah.
You may have been in one of those sessions as one of our clients.
Oh, yeah.
And if you were, go ahead and talk about it in the chat. We'd love to hear from you.
Yes, absolutely. If you've gone through this, please share it. Kevin Jennings, he shared that life focus gives you written language to articulate something you've always thought about when you didn't quite know how to say it. I love that. It gives you a facilitator in a box. And then Danielle Brooks, she said, if you don't plan your life, someone else is planning it for you. I
So true.
love that the system allowed me to make plans over the next 10 years and back my way into it. I could plan the life I want and not the life someone else was going to give me. I think that's such a good point. This goes back to the drifting aspect of it's so easy to drift somewhere. And that's usually because of other people's influence or not being intentional.
Mhm.
And this really provides that. Okay, so this is just an incredible tool. We're so excited about this. Okay, so like I mentioned, we have 3 different options here. So the first is a kit. So we talked about this kit. It includes all the card decks, your workbook. This is really for somebody who feels more budget conscious, somebody who is, willing to figure it out on their own and just kind of they don't feel like they need somebody to walk through the process with them. So this kit is $149. We have a 30-day money back guarantee for you when you purchase this. So that guarantee starts by the time that it's delivered. Since this is a pre-order, you get that 30-day money back guarantee. There is a link that we are going to be throwing in the chat right now, which is fullfocus.co/winning plan. And that is where you can go purchase that. We'll put that in the chat for you. That's your first option is just the kit. Okay. That's really kind of do it yourself. You get all the pieces. Like I said, the workbook has everything in there. Your second option is the course. So this would include your kit, but then it would also have an entire course that accompanies it that you're actually teaching, Dad.
Yep.
Which I'm really excited about. This is for those of you who want to do this process on your own time, who maybe want to go at a slower pace, work through a couple of the modules at a time. Myself and Ken will be walking you through the exercises in the course, which we're really excited about. And we also have a couple bonuses for this specific package. So if you get the kit and the course, so this is $497. But we also have 3 bonuses that you're going to get when you order by the end of this month. So you will get what's called your Life Focus Compass. This is a beautifully designed poster that you get to put in your mission and your values. And then it's beautifully designed. You get to print it and you can hang it on your wall, frame it in your office. But this is really kind of your compass as you think about your life plan, which is amazing. That is valued at $29. Then we have the Life Focus Activation Guide. So this is like your quick start guide to how to take your life plan and turn it into reality. And so one of the things that I think we heard from a lot of the people is, okay, well, what do I do with this now? And this guide is really going to walk you through exactly how to turn your life focus into a plan, into creating it, making it real in your life. This is valued at $57. And then our third bonus is called Planner Powered Life Focus. So this
is what I'm excited about.
Yeah, this is for all of you who are full focus planner users and lovers. And we wanted you to know exactly how to connect your life focus with your full focus planner. And so this will be where we're walking you through exactly how to implement your life focus inside of this. And that is valued at $75. So this entire bonus package is $161. And you'll get this when you order the kit and the course together. So that package. Okay. The third option, which is I'm most excited about because I'm very involved in this one, and
Me too.
you are too, is our live event. So we decided to do a live event. Several of you have been to our other live events, like Your Best Year Ever Live. And we love this setting because it really enables us to help coach you through this process. So you get your questions answered in this. We get to walk you through this. This is a 2-day live event. It's all virtual, so it doesn't matter where in the world you live, but you get to join us. Tickets for this are $9.97, but this includes everything I've already mentioned. So you get the kit, you'll have that before the live event. You get the course, so you can refer back to this content at any time.
So you get the videos
Exactly.
even if you come to the live event. So
Exactly.
you can revisit it, rewatch
Yes.
some of the videos, whatever.
And you'll get a recording of the live event. So if for some reason you have to skip out early or you want to reference that, you'll get a recording of that. And then we have some really exciting bonuses here that I'm excited about. So this package includes all the bonuses that I just mentioned. Plus, we're including Life Focus Deep Dive. This is integrating your life plan into your life. This is a 3-part video series. This is going to be awesome. It really is kind of where the rubber meets the road. So we're taking you again through that process of here's your life focus. Now, how do you turn it into reality in your everyday life? So we're going to be talking about things like how to tie your goals to your life plan, what to do with your life plan to keep it visible so it doesn't just sit on a shelf and be dusty and
Get mildew.
you don't look at it for 10
Yeah.
years, right? That's not purposeful. This bonus is $150. And then life focus for couples. So this I know is going to be really important for a lot of you who have spouses. You want to walk through this plan of life planning, but you're kind of like, how do we do this together as a couple?
Yeah.
And so this is going to be actually interviews that we do with several different couples in all different lives of stages, people who are empty nesters, people who have little kids at home, people who are single with no children. And we're going to talk through how to do your life focus as a couple. So it's going to be pretty awesome.
Okay, so just imagine what would happen if you and your wife or you and your husband were on the same page. And when Gail and I did this for the first time about 10 years ago, it was amazing. First of all, it led to some extraordinary conversations because we weren't in alignment on everything. And we had to work through that and negotiate it so that our life plans were running parallel, not the same, but parallel, and so that they were congruent. And like, I don't know of a better thing for a relationship than for everybody involved to do a life plan and then to talk about it.
Yeah. I think this would be a really powerful exercise
I
for
do too.
people to walk through. So that's valued at $250. And then the last bonus that you get with this package of joining us at the live
I
event.
can't believe you're doing this one.
I'm most excited about. Like I said, I'm most excited about this package because I'm very involved in this one, which is you're actually going to get 6 months of coaching, live group coaching with myself and Ken, who's my co-host on Focus on This. We're going to be walking you through each month, kind of the process of what happens now after the fact of creating a life plan. What do we do? We're going to be able to answer all of your questions live and really kind of coach you through that process of creating a life plan. So this is amazing. This is valued at $1,800. So this is a really important bonus. We really want you to feel like you're completely set up for success. You're going to come to the live event. At that live event, you walk away with your personal mission statement, your core values, your 10-year life plan, completely written out, start to finish. It will be done by the time that you finish this 2-day event. And you're going to have 1, 3, and 5-year milestones along the way. And this is really important because your life plan is only as good as it is put into action, right? And
Somebody's
so,
just asking about that in the chat.
yeah. So we really want to make sure that you have everything you need to create the life that you want. The life plan is the first part, right? But then you actually have to go do it. So we're going to help you with those milestones. And you're going to have total clarity with each of your life domains and what you want out of them and what you're striving for there. So again, that life focus live event that is happening April 5th and 6th. And that is valued at $997.
Can I just say something about that too? I know a lot of people will sometimes go to a fee-based financial planner and they'll pay more than this to get a financial plan, which is one domain of 9. So there's 8 other domains they don't have a plan for. And I believe in financial planning. I work with a lot of financial advisors, coaching and so forth. But to have a life plan for all 9 domains of your life and to set yourself up for success, what's that worth? That's an investment that will create a return on that investment for the rest of your life. In fact, I would say it this way. Not only is it a return on investment for you, but for your children, for your children's children, for the legacy that you want to leave. Maybe it's possible to do that without a life plan, but I promise you, with a life plan, it's going to be so much easier.
It really will. And I think this live event is going to be extremely transformational. You know, when you show up and you invest your time, what it pays is incredible for your life. Like, I feel like this is, if you're serious about creating the life that you want, the life focus live event is where you want to be. You're going to be there with us. We're going to be able to walk you through this. We're going to be
Answer your
answering
questions.
all your questions throughout the days. I saw somebody asked what were the dates. April 5th and 6th is when that's happening. Again, it's virtual, so you can join from the comfort of your own home or your office, and you'll have access to that recording, so you can always refer to
Yep.
it later. Couple other things I want to mention here. This is all of these products have a 30-day money back guarantee of when we deliver the product to you. So because this is a pre-order, that 30-day money back guarantee doesn't start today. It starts when you get the product. We also have payment plans available. We know, especially for the live event, this might feel out of reach
Oh, I
immediately
didn't
for
know
some
that.
people.
That's cool.
And so we've given the option for people to pay in installments. The other thing is that all these bonuses I mentioned, you get for free with the various packages that we talked about, but those are only available through January. So if you are interested in getting any of those, the live coaching that we talked about, the activation kits, all of that, it's only available to you if you order before the end of January. So don't wait. To make sure you go now. There's a QR code on your screen. You can just easily look at that, or grab the URL. Dad, any final thoughts before we go?
Yeah, I would just say do this. This is maybe the most important investment you make in your life. And I know that's a big statement, but if you think about any other investment you make, whether you're buying stocks or annuities or buying real estate or whatever other investment you make, this is more important than all of that. Because at the end of the day, it's not what you acquire or what you accumulate, but who you become and what you accomplish. And a life plan will make that meaningful and ensure that you have a life well lived that's not wasted. And I don't know of a better gift that you could give to yourself or give to the people that you love, like a life plan will provide for you. So I hope you'll join us. And I would really encourage you to join us at the live event, because that will guarantee, how many courses have you bought and you didn't finish? But if you join the live event, we will make sure that you finish. You're putting yourself in a process that's guaranteed to get you the result that you want. And as Marissa said, we have payment plans, so there's really no excuse.
Well, I hope you enjoyed this conversation with my dad and me, and it was so much fun getting to talk to him about life planning, and I feel like I learned a ton. I hope you did too. So thanks again for joining us for another episode on Focus on This.
This is the most productive podcast on the internet, so please share it with your friends and be sure to join the Full Focus Planner community on Facebook so you can benefit from the creativity and encouragement of people chasing big goals just like you. And you could go to fullfocus.co/community to check out that group.
And we'll be here next week with another great episode.
Until then, stay focused.
Focused.